Well, hi there, and welcome to Santa Cruz at the heart of the Peruvian Amazon. This is our second stop on our nearly 2-week excursion into the Amazon, and we are here to document every lizard species that we possibly can. Let's see what we find. Come on. This absolutely tiny little lizard is an Amazon pygmy gecko, and these are tiny terrestrial diurnal geckos. That means they're very, very small, active during the day, and they walk on the ground. And this is one of the rarest lizards, at least geckos, that you can find here in the Peruvian Amazon. We have been so fortunate to get to see this absolutely microscopic but springy little micro gecko. It's hard to describe it. It has no toe pads. It almost looks like a Chinese cave gecko, except in extremely tiny miniature. What a guy. Holy moly. The Amazon pygmy gecko. All right. If you're in the Amazon River Basin and it's night and you see a great big gecko, it's a turnip-tailed gecko. This is the only really big nocturnal gecko around here. There really aren't a lot of nocturnal geckos, period. And they're very, very common. Last night, Will found one on both sides of our house. They're all over the place. They're really cool. I really like them. I've liked seeing them. What I haven't totally understood until now is why they're called turnip-tailed geckos. Because, you know, we got a really close look at one of them when we were at Madre Selva, and it has a really pretty normal gecko tail. It kind of looks like the tail of a Saracenorum gecko. And that is what their tails look like, unless they're regenerated. Whoa, hold still. When they regenerate their tail, and this one here has a regenerated tail, it grows back looking like a carrot. It's kind of fat at the top, and it comes to a gradual point, and it's a much turnipier looking tail. Very, very goofy indeed. But this is a really pretty gecko, very soft skin, very much like a day gecko. And I think that they can actually lose skin when they're trying to escape from you as well. You can see it's also waggling that tail. It's inviting me to grab that tail because it knows once it grabs that tail, it can get the heck out of here. But I've got the rest of you. Now, something that this guy showed me in addition to why they'd be called turnip-tailed geckos is also what the inside of their mouth looks like. I don't want to get bitten. I think these guys can pack a bit of a wallop. But let's see here. Inside that mouth, it's all black. You got a pink tongue, but everything else is black and scary looking. Kind of an intimidating little threat display, if you ask me. And he is very inclined. I've had many a gecko draw blood on me. Tokays can leave scars. And this guy looks like he's got a bit of a chomp to him. But a very cool gecko. The turnip-tailed gecko. Let's let this guy go. This little cutie is a Slender Anole. And to be perfectly honest, this is like the most plain Jane anole I've ever seen in my life, but it's still cool. It's kind of long and slender, unsurprisingly. They do have a notoriously large dewlap, and so that's a little unusual. Dewlaps, though, are very usual among the anoles lizards. That is that big throat fan that they stick out, and they do that to advertise all kinds of things, mostly to say, hey ladies, or to say, hey, you better run along, fella. And the males and the females generally have these big dewlaps, but the males usually have them more brightly colored and bigger. But the Slender Anole here is basically a long, skinny, tan, patternless anoles lizard. Even its mouth is like light and tan. This is just a pretty normal lizard. Hey there, you're very cute though, Slender Anole. These little cuties are banded tree anoles. And they are very, very beautiful. In fact, these are probably the most beautiful of all the anoles lizards around here. There's a lot of sexual dimorphism. The males are kind of brightly colored and monochromatic to a degree. I mean, they've got all kinds of colors going on, and they change colors dramatically. It's one of the things that these guys are notorious for. But the females are banded. They're the ones that have the dark and light bands. Both of them are absolutely gorgeous. And I'm sorry if I sound a little exasperated. We just had to go watch Matt catch an arapaima.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. That is amazing.
Congratulations.
It was quite an event. But anyway, now we're back checking out these little beauties. Like I said, they change color dramatically, and they've got major sexual dimorphism. The males, in addition to the color differences, they've got a big crest and a big yellow dewlap. The females also have a dewlap, but it's not quite as big, and they don't have that crest up on their neck. They're still really pretty. These are awesome lizards. This positively gorgeous lizard is a collared tree runner, and I am just enamored with this lizard. A few years ago, I started to see pictures of a lizard that potentially exists around here called a green thorny tail, which is one of the most beautiful lizards I've ever seen in my life, and they live somewhere way high in the canopy. But apparently these guys are fairly closely related, and these guys live a lot lower, usually on the sides of trees. And you know, when they see a person, they'll scamper up. They rarely drop down. A lot of lizards, when they get startled, they'll drop down and run away, go for cover in the ground. These guys just go up. And I was lucky enough to stumble into this guy last night, and I was able to get him before he got away from me. But what an absolutely glorious creature. This coloration, this head shape too. He's got really long legs, because these guys hang out on the sides of big, wide trees. And so, you know, they're all spread out like Spider-Man kind of out on those trees. And, you know, if they can't go up very quickly, first thing they'll do is they'll go around to the back side of the tree, and then they'll go up. And they'll get away from you that way. And these legs are really well situated for that kind of locomotion, running up and down the sides of trees. But he's got very, very fine scales. A couple little projections here on the back of his head that are soft but colored differently from the rest of him, and he looks almost like he could have a little dewlap in there. I'm not going to try too hard to pull it out. I don't think there is one, but he's got a ridge down his throat, which is really interesting. They've got a very subtle collar, but being so banded everywhere, the collar is really visible on the belly where they're not as banded, but they're so banded that it's interesting that that would be the thing that you would focus on. Their coloration can vary a lot. I'm not sure if it's between individuals or if it depends on, you know, time of day and mood and where they're found. But this one, the whole time I've seen him, he's had this unbelievably striking banded green and black coloration. Holy Hannah, got to be one of the prettiest lizards I've ever seen. Collared tree runner. I'd like to take a moment just to say thank you to our patrons at Patreon that made this entire expedition possible. If you'd like to support us doing things like this in the future, or just see the awesome content that we have available for our patrons, please consider checking it out. This little beauty is an olive tree runner. This is Plica umbra, and it's very similar to its relative, the collared tree runner, Plica plica. I think in a lot of ways this lizard could be overshadowed because Plica plica is so beautiful, but if you just take a moment to get a little closer, right? The collared tree runner, you know, the banded pattern is very striking even from a distance, but as you look at this guy up close, my gosh, he's got such beautiful greens and blacks in there. The spines down its back alternate. It's like 2 or 3 at a time are green, and then black, and then green, and then black. It's got a little collar. It's got a little kind of an orange dewlap-like projection. I don't know if they've got like a full-on dewlap. Man, there's just, and that orange extends throughout all the belly. This is a really beautiful lizard. If you look at its face up close, it looks like a very tiny Galapagos land iguana. It's got that same kind of short face that they have. Oh, hey, buddy. But you don't want to touch them on the nose or they might bite you. Look there. I want to see what color the inside of your mouth is. It's kind of a purple, purpley blue inside of there. And you can see he's got some little teeth going on. Hey, buddy. This is an iguanid lizard, and he just is basically a tiny little iguana. Very, very cool. These guys also hang out on branches. Maybe not quite as Spider-Man style as the collared tree runner, but a really cool lizard. One I really enjoy seeing down here. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This little cutie is a baby forest whiptail. And whiptails are the teid lizards. They are the same group to which Gus Gus, our Argentine black and white tegu, belongs. And this guy is so beautiful and so cute. When we were at Madre Selva, we actually got to see how these are made. And This one is a baby. He probably hatched out this year, and he's had an interesting incident. He has a totally bent tail. And at first I thought it was a regrown tail that had grown in sideways, but actually it appears to be his original tail, and I see him twitching it. It acts like a normal tail. I imagine this is probably an issue with incubation when he was in the egg, that the temperatures got weird or something like that, and he grew this kink tail off to the side. But other than that, he's just perfect, and he is so pretty and cute. What an adorable little lizard. Forest whiptail. And this, of course, isn't a lizard, but it is super cool, and I thought you'd want to check it out. This smooth-fronted caiman, this one we found in a little canal as we were hiking on the trails, and that gives us a really cool opportunity to talk about where you find these guys. One of the cool things about these is, like, well, in ancient times, there were terrestrial as well as aquatic crocodilians. So at the time of the dinosaurs, walking on the earth were crocodilians that lived on land full time. And this is not there. But this is a bit of a reversion to living on land because, well, crocodilians, some of them are quite big. You know, in this area, there are black caiman. In fact, there are black caiman in that pond right behind us. Big ones. They're the biggest crocodilians in the area. There are spectacled caimans, which are way bigger than these. And then there are these little smooth-fronted caimans that are very small, and they can't compete with those big guys. Those big guys will just eat them whenever they find them. And these guys tend to inhabit smaller waterways, way away from these big bodies of water with the bigger crocodilians in them. These guys are way out in the forest, and sometimes those waterways dry up entirely. And these guys are okay, because they spend a heck of a lot of time on land. And one of the clear evidences of this is the fact that their back legs have almost no webbing on the toes. You're gonna bite me, you're gonna get me, you're gonna get me. And that's because he's not much of a swimmer, though he does have a great paddle tail, huge spines like a crocodile. And these guys are very armored, very cool looking little crocodilians. Some of my favorite crocodilians of them all. I love you, you're such a cutie. You're such a cutie, let's see you. You should have something to bite. Something soft. Yeah, would you like to bite that? Yeah, how's that feel? Getting it out of your system? Getting it out of your system? Yeah. Get it. Yeah. The smooth-fronted caiman. Well, those are all of the lizards that we found here at Santa Cruz. We've certainly, I think, had more success with frogs and snakes here, but if you want to see a lot more lizards still, you got to check out our video right here about all of the crazy lizards we saw at the last place that we were, Madre Selva. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you real soon. Woo! Was that on camera? You got the noise? We could hear you. You calling for Mama to come kill me? You're such a good little guy. You're not giving that up, are you? That's a keeper. Ah, yeah. I thought so. Oh, you gonna bite me, little girl? You gonna bite me? You gonna bite me? Yeah. Oh, it's okay, buddy. Calm down. Calm down. It's okay. Yeah, I know.